So today we are going over my vulnerability assignment final. I am Christiana Afriye, and this is my service that I will be going over. So some quick definition for my PowerPoint is HTTP, which represent Hypertext Transfer Protocol. HTTPS is Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. POP is Postal Office Protocol. SMTP is Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. SMPTS is Simple Mail Transfer Protocol Secure. IMAP, which is Internet Message Access Protocol. TLS is Protocol Transport Layer Security. SSL is Secure Socket Layer. TCPH is Transmission Control Protocol. And Verify is Verify spelled differently. And ESPN is expand. So my executive summary, while both servers were scanned, the Greenbone report is based on the filtered version. Between both the Windows and the Linux servers, there were a total of 3 findings, 2 findings belonging to the Linux and 1 belonging to the Windows server. Greenbone uses CVSS, and the CVSS represent the vulnerability that is discovered. With the report we evaluated in this paper, we used a filtered report instead of the whole report. That is why 2 vulnerabilities were discovered within the Linux server, which were the check if the mail server answers verify and SPN request and TCP timestamp. And the criticality for both differs. With the check if the mail server answers verify, it's 5.0, which is medium, and the TCP timestamp is 2.6, which is low. And the Windows server only had 1 vulnerability, and it was the SSL/TLS, specifying a weak surfer suit, and the criticality for that one is medium, CVSS 50. So for each of these reports, vulnerabilities, they all have different remediation methods. As we go through the slides, we will identify all of them and how to properly remediate in all of them. But for now, for the first vulnerability, which was the Verify and ESPN, the recommended measure is to disable Verify and ESPN. And for the second one, the proper one for the TCPM stamp is to just disable the TCPM stamps. And lastly, to fix the Windows Server vulnerability, it is recommended to configure the server so that it doesn't accept the cipher suits anymore. Technical summary. Both the Greenbone scanning, based on the Greenbone scanning, there are some issues that were reported. An issue was checking if the mail server on the Linux responded to verify and expand. Another issue was concerning the TCP timestamps, as we discussed earlier in the executive summary. And pertaining to the Windows, it was dealing with the weak SSL TLS cipher, and although some some recommended services were not configured upon the Linux server, like the SMPTS and Postgres, and also some ports that weren't supposed to be open were open compared to the Windows server. The only thing that was not configured that was supposed to be configured was the SMTPS, which is the Simple Mail Transport Protocol Secure. So there were no issues found with the operating system pertaining to the operating system. So there was no finding, there was no detail to be named about, and there is no recommendation for both Windows and Linux. So with firewalls, there was no findings pertaining Windows, but for Linux, there were some findings, being that, as I previously stated, there were some unnecessary ports open for HTTP, POP, SMTP, and IMAP. Those are not good because they could be used for an attack vector. So we should definitely close those, and the criticality for those are medium. And here are some recommendations on how to close these ports so you cannot be vulnerable. like the Greenbaum report stated. For AppArmor, there were no security issues in this. There's no findings, so there will be no details of findings, no recommendation, no fixes. For HTTP/HTTPS security issues for Windows, the Greenbaum report stated that the SSL/the TLS cipher suits are accepted by services where the attack vector exists only on the HTTPS service. This bug is used for attack suite 32, and recently it has been used to exploit a weak cipher 3DES in the TLS encryption. So the criticality for this one is medium, CVSS, and to fix this issue, it is recommended to mitigate it by configuring the service so it should be changed so it doesn't accept any cipher suits anymore. And here are the steps for configuring the service upon the Windows server. To continue with the HTTPS security issues, for Linux, there was no findings with this issue. There was no issue found. With POP3S, with Linux, there were no findings with this service. It was configured. SMTP issues. So there were, for this Windows, there is a problem because SMPTS was not configured and it is needed. It's a necessary service. So the criticality for this is high. And to fix this issue, here are the list and the recommendations, step by step, how to put SMPTS, install it in your Windows server, and configure it so that SMPTS is being used properly. Same goes for the Linux. For Linux, SMPTS was not configured, so making the criticality very high. And you do need SMPTS because it provides authentication of communicating partners. If it's not configured right on the server, you are prone to an attack. Another finding for Linux was based on the Greenbaum report, the mail server on the host to answer verify and expand. The verify command represents verify and the ESPN stands for expand. The criticality for that one is medium, so CVSS 5.0. And to fix this issue, to fix the issue of the checkmail server finding, first you have to disable verify and expand on the mail server. So the verify command is used to verify the legitimacy of an account, and the expand command is utilized to discover the delivering address on the mail server. It is important to disable these commands since attackers can utilize these commands in a phishing attack. And below is steps to disable verify and expand inside Postfix because we use Postfix for Linux. There was no IMAP issues found in this, although IMAP was not configured. That was a firewall issues. Well, it was an unnecessary port that was open. So to properly mitigate it is to close it, and that was dealt with in the firewall issues. DNS, there was no findings with DNS for Windows and Linux both. And there was a database issue. PostgreSQL was missing. And since it's used to store data for many applications, it is necessary to have PostgreSQL on your Linux server. Its criticality level is high. To fix this is to install Postgre on your Linux server and make sure it is the latest version. And after that, you can configure it on your computer, not your computer, your Linux server. There was no SSH security issues. And With other security issues pertaining to Windows, there was no other security issue, but with Linux, there was a security issue, which is that Linux TCP timestamp. And this is one of the vulnerabilities from the Greenbaum report. This vulnerability deals with the host applying TCP timestamps, which permits the user to calculate the uptime. The criticality is low, CVS as 2.6. To fix this issue, it is best to disable your TCP timestamps, set it to 0, and run it to make sure it is properly secure. And here are the references used to make this PowerPoint. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for listening to me.